Hi, my name is Elaine Waterman and I'm the Executive Director at the Firehouse Art Center. I'm going to be leading you through a project today that incorporates printing, relief printing using the foam plates in your family kit, and we are going to be referencing the printmaking of José Guadalupe Posada. So Posada is an artist he was a cartoonist as well as a printmaker. One of his famous works is called La Calavera Catrina. And the Calavera Catrina is a zinc etching made by José Posada. And it was originally a commentary on the Mexican natives who Posada felt were aspiring to adopt European aristocratic traditions. Right now, she is actually a motif that you see in a lot of the decor and the artwork for Dia de los Muertos. So she has become an icon of the Dia de Muertos, or Day of the Dead. So we are going to be using the foam plate that is in your family kit from the Longmont Museum and Cultural Center. We are going to be using the paint that's in the kit, brush, and as well as this information about Posada, about Catrina Calavera, and this little sketch that was included in your kit as well. So what is going to happen is you are going to take this foam plate, and when I say foam plate, I don't mean a plate that you eat off of. It is actually a term for printmaking. So the plate is the material that you use, and you make the drawing or the imprint on the plate, and then you use the plate with ink on top or paint on top to repeat the design over and over and over again. So it's a technique in art where you can take a design and repeat it many times very quickly. So it definitely saves a lot of time, but it takes time to prepare your plate. So that's what we're gonna do right now. In your kit, you have all the materials that you need. You even have the paper that you are going to print it on. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna cut this in half, and you are going to use the paper from your instructional sheet for the printing. So I'm going to put this to the side, and I'm going to cut this out too. Now this is a sketch that I did, and it's actually, I'm going to copy it and put it into the family kits from the museum. And what you're going to do is you're going to take this sketch and you're going to place it on top of your foam plate. Now in your kit, you have a pencil, and you can use a pencil, or you can use just a ballpoint pen. But the important thing is when you're tracing this design onto your plate, the piece of paper goes right above it, but you have to press really hard. Now the reason you're pressing really hard is whatever is imprinted onto this plate, and you'll see it at the end, this is what is going to, the reverse is actually what's going to print, so it's a negative printing. But to make sure that your design is clear, you have to press really hard when you transfer it. So I'm going to place this on here. Now, I've just told you to press really hard, and that's very important, but you don't want to press too hard that you poke through your plate. Now in the kit you have two, so you can always try it again, but you want to save this one, just, if you want to do another design, you can do another design later. So I'm going to go ahead and trace over all these lines with my pen. Then I'm going to remove it, and I'm going to trace it again. So as I'm tracing it, I'm kind of going over the lines over and over. So I'm going over the lines more than once. And that's a good way to make sure that you get your design pressed in there really well. Okay, so now I have it transferred onto my foam plate, and I'm gonna go ahead and trace over it again. Now, this work right here is actually a representation of Posada's zinc etching. And as a printmaker, since Posada was a printmaker, I wanted to make sure we honored his profession in doing a printing project using a calacas, or a skeleton. And this is our simplified version of a Catrina Calavera. So I'm pressing pretty hard. Now you might not be able to see it, but when you run your finger over your design, you'll be able to feel it. So that is a very important thing. But as I said before, you don't want to push so hard into the foam plate that you poke through it. So there we go. Ta-da! My design has been transferred, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to paint over it and print it onto the piece of paper that was part of the instructions. So this paint, you want to make sure you cover your surface, because as you paint over your plate, you might get it on the table that you're using. So you want to make sure you cover your table, especially if you're using your dining table. Now you might get it on your fingers too, but don't worry, this paint included in your kit is tempera, so it's washable. And depending on how this design goes, you can keep printing it over and over again, or you can take your second tray, and this second tray that's included in your kit, your foam plate, and make a different design. So I'm going to see if this works. I'm going to put this guy right here and press it. Now sometimes you add too much paint and it doesn't print very well. But this one worked out really great. So here is our printing project. So this is included in your family kit from the Longmont Museum for Dia de los Muertos for 2020. You will be able to make one of these foam printing plates and then transfers. And then, for the second tray, the second foam plate, you can make whatever design you want. Sometimes, a good design for this would be a butterfly. Butterflies work really well, and they are also very meaningful for Dia de los Muertos, the monarch butterflies, as guides between the spirit world and the real world. So there's a second piece of paper too. I'm going to print it one more time and see if it works again. So black is the color that is included in your kit, but you can also try this if you have different colors of tempera paint at home. You can try this with different colors. And the best thing about printmaking is once you have your foam plate, you can keep printing over and over and over again. And you can make hundreds of these with just one plate. So you just have to make one plate and then you can print hundreds. So that is our project for today. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.